What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. We got some big news. President Donald Trump and the Fed make a major announcement which is going to affect hundreds of millions of Americans here in 2026. Also, we'll go over the brand new details about President Donald Trump suing his own administration, the IRS, for $10 billion from taxpayers. Yeah, there's a lot to go over here, so let's jump right in. We are live right now here on the It's Jimmy Show. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat, or let me know where you're tuning in from, your city, state, or your country, as we have people tuning in from all around the globe. Don't forget to hit that like button for me here, and if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. Take a look here. Okay, first up, President Donald Trump set his nomination for the Fed chairman to replace Jerome Powell, which he calls Jerome Too Late Powell. His new Fed chairman nominee is Kevin Warsh. And what does this mean for investors? Well, first, take a listen to President Donald Trump here.
Did Kevin Warsh commit to you that he will push to cut interest rates if he is confirmed?
No, but we talk about it, and I've been following him, and I don't want to ask him that question. I think it's inappropriate, probably would be allowed, but I want to keep it nice and pure. But he certainly wants to cut rates. I've been watching him for a long time.
Senator Thomas,
did you have any concerns about his hawkish history of pushing for rate hikes?
He's going to want to do the same thing. I think that, yeah, I've had times when I think you've had to really have rate hikes too. But he's very smart, very good, strong, young, pretty young, and I think he's going to do good. I mean, he was the central casting guy that people wanted.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the confirmation hearings? We've heard
No.
Senator Tillis.
No.
You think with the DOJ investigation that's going on?
This is in the whole country. I would say that this was the perfect candidate, top student, best schools, everything was like perfect. The youngest person ever to serve on the Fed. Got the whole package. Looks don't mean anything, but he's got the look.
What is your strategy for getting past the hold that Senator Tillis has on this process? He said he won't allow.
Well, that's that kind of thinking is why he's no longer a senator. He's going to be out of office. It's too bad. I always liked Senator Tillis actually, but he did some things that were not smart. And whatever. I mean, if he doesn't approve, we'll just have to wait till somebody comes in that will approve it, right? So that's it. But I saw that. He wants to be an obstructionist, but we have a lot of obstructionists. I've had a lot, and we've created the best presidency maybe ever.
Now, this comes as President Donald Trump has been over the moon trying to get lower interest rates for millions and millions of Americans and the federal government, which is paying about $1 trillion a year per year in interest alone. And credit card interest rates, many people think is way too high. President Donald Trump recently called for a cap on credit card interest rates to cap them at 10%. He has not been able to do that yet. Lowering interest rates will lower them overall, as well as lower interest rates on car loans, car leases, mortgage rates for your home, mortgage refinances, personal loans, pretty much everything. As the Fed lowers rates, interest rates come down. And with credit card interest rates still extremely high and the government debt higher than ever, a lot of people are pushing for this. However, some people are cautious and say if we lower rates too much or too quickly, it could bring even more inflation than we're experiencing now. Yeah, so you have both of those that you have to. That's why the Fed has a balancing act to try to keep inflation low, because when they lower rates too much, we've seen in the past in the U.S. and other countries that then people go and spend more money or borrow more money than they normally otherwise would, which leads to more debt and also leads to more inflation. Yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think rates should be lower, should be higher, or should stay somewhere around the same? Let me know in the comment section. This also comes as President Donald Trump sues the IRS and the U.S. Treasury for $10 billion over leaked tax documents. Trump and his sons are suing the IRS and the Treasury over this leaked tax information. President Donald Trump and his two sons have filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the federal government over leaks of their business and personal tax returns. The federal complaint filed in Miami court seeks $10 billion in damages from the U.S. government or our taxpayer money. And remember that the Trump administration is in charge of the IRS at this moment and the Treasury. Yeah, Trump is accusing the IRS, the wide tax body, the Treasury Department, of failing to prevent the disclosure of confidential personal financial information by a former IRS contractor. The contractor, known as Charles Chaz Littlejohn, is now serving a 5-year prison sentence after being convicted of leaking the tax disclosures to the U.S. media. Now, the question is should President Donald Trump be awarded $10 billion from the U.S. Treasury and the IRS because of this? Not 10 million, 10 billion with a B. That's a lot of U.S. taxpayer money. Now, this comes as President Donald Trump reignites some trade wars and new tariffs coming to the U.S. potentially. And Canada. Trump threatens a 50% tariff on aircraft sold in the U.S. to Canada, expanding the trade war. Trump says the U.S. will actually decertify Canadian-made planes and will add a 50% tariff to Canada. President Donald Trump says he is decertifying all aircraft built in Canada and threatened to impose 50% tariffs on Canadian aircraft sold to the U.S. in an escalation of trade tensions between the neighboring countries that could have ramifications for U.S. air travel. The other thing that's going to have ramifications for U.S. air travel is a government shutdown and a potential shortage like last time of workers at the airports. Remember those significant airline delays and stuff that we've seen during the last government shutdown of 43 days? Well, we're set to have a government shutdown Friday at midnight if the Republicans and Democrats can't agree. I just did a video on that. I'll link you to here in a moment. You could watch that next. Now, President Donald Trump is actually, you can see the headline here, President Donald Trump just hit Russia harder than any missile from Ukraine with their new potential acquisition of Russian oil giant Lukoil. Lukoil has agreed to sell its foreign assets to an American investment firm in a major indication that President Donald Trump's sanctions against Moscow and Russia are hurting them significantly. The proposed sale to the U.S., or a U.S. investment firm, I should say, valued by some estimates around $22 billion, comes as Lukoil faces U.S. blocking sanctions and divestment conditions and could deliver a hugely damaging economic blow to Russia, meaning less oil under their control. Lukoil is the country's largest non-state enterprise in terms of revenue in Russia and stood out among Russian energy giants for its international reach. However, Lukoil, who's invested overseas and developed refineries in Europe and the Middle East in gas stations in several continents, owns over 200 such stations in the U.S. States like New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. For decades, this gave Moscow influence abroad and protected Lukoil to an extent from domestic shocks at home. But in October, the Trump administration imposed new targeted sanctions on Lukoil and another oil company, Rosneft, and this may have forced Lukoil to sell their assets. Now, this comes after Russia actually just seized a key lithium field, which was potentially going to have the rights of some of it or part of it to the U.S., and Russia seized that now during their war, which presents problems because the more territory Moscow grabs, like significant lithium fields, lithium mines like this, well, the less that Ukraine can actually offer to Washington in terms of negotiation. This deposit was seen as by industry analysts as one of Ukraine's most valuable because of its rich concentration of lithium, a mineral which is essential for all sorts of things such as electric batteries that can be in your phone, in cars, or all sorts of electronics. The U.S. has designated lithium as critical to its economy and national security. Yeah, so, and the problem is that, Vladimir Putin has not stopped the war. He refuses to go with any peace agreements and continues attacking into Ukraine all sorts of literally everything, residential buildings, anything that there can be. And he's basically defied President Donald Trump month after month after month when President Donald Trump has been trying to get the war stopped. Vladimir Putin's just like, nah, we're going to keep going and keep attacking till forever. I don't know. You tell me. We're going on, 4 years now? So, yeah, it's pretty wild. So let me know your thoughts, and I will keep you up to date. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos, and share this video so other people can see it. Click here to see what a government shutdown needs to happen to prevent it. Or click here to see the massive announcement by the Fed that President Donald Trump was shocked about.